Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Josh Duggar is back in court today. So I'm obviously trying to give you guys some updates, see what's going on so we can talk about it. I want to read all your comments in the comment section below. I've been reading the updates for the past probably 20 minutes, and let me just say, the prosecution, they have cross-examined the defense's first witness. I've read all those updates, and let me tell you guys, they blew it out the water. They cross-examined that first witness, Michelle Bush, and just chipped away at all of her testimony. And I think, honestly, it's kind of sealing the deal on Josh's fate. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Trigger warning, this content, obviously, we will be discussing CSAM as well as CSA. So if you do not think you can handle that, maybe sit this one out. I will try to abbreviate and say things in the easiest way possible, but really when we're discussing such a heavy topic, it's no way to really say it in a way that isn't just devastating. So just know, here's your trigger warning. Sit it out if you can't take it, and let's go ahead and we're going to get into it. So Anna Duggar, Josh's wife, obviously there today. Jim Bob showed up for the first time since the actual trial has began. Now, you guys know that he was at the pretrial hearing, but that's because he had to be there. He had to be there because he had to testify. He was called to testify, but after that, he's not shown up. So the fact that he's there today makes me wonder why. Is he there because he's been hearing about everything that Josh has allegedly, been caught looking at, and he just wants to hear it for himself? What is his purpose in being there today when he was not there? He hasn't been there at all. So he is there today. Jana Duggar, she is the oldest out of all the Duggar girls. She's there today, as well as Jed. He's appeared in court for the first time. Jed, aka Jedediah, he is on the witness list. Him and Jill both were on the witness list. Now, yesterday in my video, I talked about how the prosecution had rested their case, and they had not called Jill or Jedediah up. So that must have meant that Jill and Jedediah may be testifying on behalf of the defense. Now, after I uploaded that video, I had a lot of people comment saying that's not the case, that it very well could have been that they were put on the list by the prosecution, but the prosecution felt they had enough with who they brought on, with the witnesses that they had, that they thought they had a pretty solid case, so they decided not to call Jill and Jedediah. So maybe that's possible. Maybe they were on the side of the prosecution, but the prosecution did everything they could to spare them getting up on that stand. And after the witnesses that they called and how well that played out, because I really think the prosecution did very well with their witnesses, especially the family friend, Bobby Holt. I think she just kind of sealed the deal as far as the prosecution side of things. I think after that, the prosecution could have said, you know what? We're not going to bring Jill and Jedediah up here. Let's just spare them that pain. We have a good case. So maybe that's what happened here, because it really doesn't make sense for Jill specifically to testify on the side of the defense. So David Keller is there. David Keller is Anna, Josh's wife, Anna. That is her brother. Austin is back in court. He has been in attendance every day of this trial. 2 days, his wife, Joanna, has showed up and sat with him, but she is not there today. Austin sat next to Jim Bob. Hannah Reber is there. Now, Hannah Reber, she is the daughter-in-law to the Rebers that are housing Josh Duggar. So when Josh Duggar was released at his detention hearing on, I guess you could say, bond, he was released with the stipulations that he had to live with a third-party custodian family, that being the Rebers. I've not named them up until now, but their name is out there. It's kind of everywhere. I didn't like to name them due to safety concerns for them, but their name's out there. So the Rebers, they have been allowing Josh to live with them. At the detention hearing, Mrs. Reber, she kind of made it known that she was not happy with what was happening, but her husband had already made the decision to allow Josh to live there. Well, their daughter-in-law, Hannah Reber, she is there in court today. Also, she has kind of been vocal on her social media account about how she feels about Josh Duggar. I will record a video about that as well. Let's just say she's not a fan of Josh Duggar, and she doesn't like him. So we're going to do a video about that afterwards. Be on the lookout for that video as well. Also, Derek Dillard is back. He has been in attendance every day, often seen taking notes, sitting beside Anna in the front row, which is where the family since. So yesterday, the prosecution, they finished calling their witnesses, and then the defense, they was able to start calling their witnesses, the first being a lady by the name of Michelle Bush. So today, it started off where the prosecution, they cross-examined Michelle Bush. Michelle Bush is a Arizona-based digital forensic expert who has examined the devices seized from Josh Duggar's car lot. Yesterday, Michelle made statements that contradicted the statements of the prosecution's witness, James Fontrell. James Fontrell works for the Department of Justice and Child Exploitation. And like I said, he was a witness for the prosecution. Her testimony yesterday, when she was called up and the defense started questioning her, it contradicted some of the things that James Fontrell said. So Michelle claimed that the router in Josh's office was extremely important to the case and that it should have been seized along with the other devices, but it wasn't. According to KNWA, Michelle has been cross-examined by the prosecution for about an hour and a half, with most of that time spent chipping away at her credibility and her expertise in the field of which she is testifying for. She admitted that she had never taken a specific course about Linux, which is the type of partition used on Josh's computer that contained the child essay material. A KNWA's in-court reporter tweeted that Michelle embellished her experience in yesterday's testimony. So the experience that she has with this type of work or going through these type of devices, that she actually embellished that yesterday in her testimony. Also, she embellished testimony including time as a college undergrad in her years of a forensic examination experience. Bush graduated from the University of Arizona in 2015. The Sun stated that Michelle admitted that she never seen photos of Josh's actual HP computer, which is where the child essay material was all found, that she had only seen pictures of the router. She also admitted that she never listened to the audio recording of Josh's interview with the special agents on that day of the car lot raid back in 2019. And her reason for that, she stated that she wanted to focus on the forensics of the case. Next, the prosecution attorney, William Clayman, focused on Michelle's statements yesterday in which she stated that the partition could be booted up remotely. That was her testimony, is that it's possible that it could be booted up remotely. Now, during cross-examination, Michelle admitted that because of the thumb drive being used, it appeared that physical access to the computer was needed after all, and that it could not be booted up remotely. She admitted that the evidence told her that someone needed to be there to physically plug it in. So yesterday, when she was brought up on the stand by the defense, her testimony was, yes, it could be accessed remotely. But today, when the prosecution, when they cross-examined her, she basically said there was evidence that a person would have to physically plug it in because it was a thumb drive. So there was no way that the person could do that remotely because you had to do that physically in person. Actions had to be taken to do that. The prosecution continues to tear apart Michelle's testimony from yesterday. When asked if someone viewed files from a webcam collection zip file, she confirmed that the files were extracted and the folder was open. She also admitted that the child essay movies that she stated were streamed were in fact viewed. I'm guessing that is a difference as well. Prosecutor Clayman also brought up Michelle's own report, which states that 5 torrent files of child essay materials were downloaded and that 1 file was viewed for 3 minutes. She admitted that she never viewed the files found in the folder, though. She also admitted to never viewing a video that she testified about yesterday. During yesterday's testimony, Michelle stated that this particular video was deleted 29 seconds after downloading it. Today, she admitted that no CSA was visible for the first 29 seconds of that video. However, she never viewed it. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? If you never viewed it, then how would you know that no child essay was visible for the first 29 seconds? You would actually have to see that for yourself to know, okay, within the first 29 seconds, nothing of that context or no kind of content, child essay content, was even up in the first 29 seconds. So either she had to have viewed it to know that, or she was lying when she stated that. So then they brought up the username Dell1. Yesterday in Bush's testimony, she said that the username Dell1 was one that had to be auto-generated because when you try to make that username yourself, it does not allow the underscore. And she actually showed that yesterday when trying to make a username, and it would not allow her to use an underscore in her name. Well, today they brought that back up, and he asked if it was possible that the username was created on a Dell computer and then plugged in to the HP computer. So that username was already made. He then showed a screenshot of how Bush was unable to use the underscore in the name, but claimed that the software Bush was using caused the error message, not Linux itself. Klayman then asked if Bush found any evidence showing that the computer was accessed remotely, and Bush said that the evidence was not available, that logs from the router wouldn't show that. Klayman asked if she had any idea if it was accessed remotely, and she said that the evidence would not exist. He asked if she looked for evidence to see if someone accessed the HP Windows side, and Bush said that she did not think to do it because it was not the infected side or the affected side, the side where the child essay was viewed on, so she didn't check to see if that side of the computer had been accessed remotely. Klayman asked if there was no proof of the Windows side of the HP was accessed remotely, and Bush said yes. Klayman then asked Bush if there was any evidence of remote access on the Linux side of the computer, to which she said that those logs had been overwritten. So there was no way to know for sure because there would not be any evidence to that. The discussion then turned to May 15th, 2019. The court was shown an image that was taken on May 15th of someone at the car lot taking a photo of a YouTube video on the HP Windows side. This is a reflection of what could allegedly be a hat of Josh Duggar's on the computer screen, and the court was also shown the Lowe's selfie of Josh and Anna Duggar together with him wearing the same hat, allegedly. So May 15th, there was a photo that was shown showing that Josh was wearing a specific hat. Later that day, selfie shown where he's wearing that same hat. Less than an hour after that photo was taken at the car lot, Tor files were downloaded that day. In the 5 o'clock hour, many torrent files of child essay material were downloaded. Klayman then noted that you needed to restart the computer to log into Linux and then asked if that's visible. And Bush said that you would see the computer switching from Windows over to Linux. Klayman and Bush then discussed the router again. They talked about how Josh had admitted in the Homeland Security interview that he set up the router and that it was secure and it was password protected. Bush said that it wasn't relevant into her forensics and admitted to never being asked to see or examine the router. It's really wild because here, when she's being cross-examined, she says, well, I never asked to examine the router because it wasn't relevant. But yesterday, when she was first called up by the defense, she said that the router was very important, that it should have been confiscated for evidence. So it seems like her, unless I'm misunderstanding here, it seems like her testimony is kind of going one way and then the other. After this, it says that they took a lunch. During the lunch, it says that the reporters reported that the lawyers were speaking to the judge. Jim Bob was seen interacting with Austin. The Duggar family, they kind of mingled a little bit. When everyone went to kind of walk out to go to lunch, Jim Bob stayed back and held the door open to the courtroom to allow everyone to exit. Also, the son actually notes that Maria Reaver was there as well, which is the lady who is allowing Josh to live in her home, which would make sense because her daughter-in-law is there as well. So today it kind of looks like a family affair. As they are leaving to go to lunch, we see Jason, Jana, Jim Bob all headed out of the courthouse, all there in support of Josh, the way that it seems. They're all up there sitting with Anna. They can at times be seen talking to Josh, laughing with Josh, but that's where we're at right now, you guys, and I'm going to have to go ahead and wrap this one up. But if I can, I'll try to do another update later this evening or maybe tonight, try to go live to give another update. I usually like to try to do that. I usually like to try to go live tonight to do the evening update of what happened in the trial, but yesterday I just couldn't. Had a sick child and I was just kind of exhausted today. I have a doctor's appointment, so not really sure how or what time I'm going to be back, but just make sure you subscribe to the channel, you give this video a thumbs up, you ring that bell, because no matter when I can get the updates out, I will be getting them out to you guys. So if you want to keep up with this trial, like I said, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you are notified. Also, leave me your comments. What do you think? How do you guys think the prosecution did as far as chipping away at Michelle Bush's testimony? I think, once again, this is just a solid case for them. And the fact that they are chipping away at her expertise, when she was the only one to kind of make things make sense, that, well, maybe it was remote access, to make it seem like it didn't have to be Josh. She was like one of the only ones to kind of make it appear that way. And she claimed to be an expert. And now the prosecution, they're kind of chipping away at that. I think that's, once again, they have just solidified their case. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.